going to give him an opportunity to go off and do the next thing and write that next chapter of his life. You know, when I came here back in the 90s, Tom was already a controller working in the control center. He was working, doing a lot of different things. He was working out at Qualcomm Stadium. Back then it was Jack Murphy Stadium. He was working out there on a regular basis with the Padres and with the Chargers. He was so talented working in special events that we created a special position for him called the Special Event Coordinator. And Tom has been, you know, doing special events for MTS for so many years now. His name is, when it comes down to MTS and special events in San Diego, it's synonymous. It doesn't matter whether it was the Padres out at Jack Murphy to when they transitioned over to Petco Park, or whether it was the Chargers that were out there until the time they left, or San Diego State, or a ton of marathons and Comic-Cons and the old events that we used to have downtown, the street scene events. Tom basically was the guy that everyone contacted in the city of San Diego when they wanted to have service provided for their events. And he's done it basically extraordinarily. And he's become so good at it that we're going to miss him. But there's people that are going to have to basically step up and pick up where he left off at. Tom has been fantastic as a teammate, as a peer. At one point he was my superior. But working with Tom has been outstanding. And like I said earlier, it's going to be bittersweet for him to leave. But we're extremely excited for him to write that next chapter in his life. And there's a lot of people that got together and signed this picture, autographed this picture for you, to retirement picture. We also have a plaque for you, you know, an appreciation of all that you've done for the agency and the time that you spent here for the agency. That plaque is actually being made right now, and we should have that for you next week, my friend. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
Is there anybody else that wants to say a few words about Tom or for Tom before we get? Oh, hey, come on up.
Hey, Yuri.
Well, I just want to tell you guys a funny story. Joe and Tom and I go back a very long way, and of course when we used to have street scene back in the day, there was an older man that I worked with who is now, I am now that man's age. His name was Albert. And we were, you know, dancing, you know, because the bands were right there, and I didn't know who Mr. Dugan was. And he walked by and he looked at us and said, "Oh my God, we're going to get fired because you know, we're messing around on the job." And I thank you for letting me stay here. The only other funny story that and I mentioned it to Tom the last time I saw him, is we were working in the booth. This was maybe 6-7 years ago. And Tom decided to park his vehicle in the bushes. So he came walking out of the bushes, and here comes security to confront him because they didn't know who he was either. And he let them know that he was a big wheel here. And they let him go. Anyway, I'm going to miss you, and I hope you'll be very happy.
Thank you very much. Very nice.
Moving on to, we'll be there to see Silver Mine.
Well, this is my last weekend. Is next weekend with them.
You're leaving?
I'm retiring from music as well, from the band. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Fred?
Does anybody know what this is?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a Dugan disc. This goes on the crossing warning systems mechanism so that when the gate falls off or gets run down, hopefully not by a train, the counterweights can no longer stay in position, and they present themselves with this disc that says stop. You're missing a gate. And Tom came up with this thing. So on behalf of the MOW department who gets to put those gates back up, we'd like to present you with a real Dugan disc. By a simple man, so there you go.
Is there anybody else that want to say something?
Can I say something?
Sure.
Cool. So, honestly, I guess we didn't really talk that much, but the best memory I've had of him was when I was an ambassador like several years ago, and he was the boss for the trolley operators, and yeah, for the events. And the first time I saw him, I walked up to him and I asked him part. I told him, okay, one day I'm going to become a trolley operator, and he's going to be my boss, and I can't wait for that. And half of those things became true. So he was my boss just for a few weeks because I just came back not that long ago. But I'm not a trolley operator yet, but it was nice to have him as my boss.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I wanted to recognize the fact that there's people here from every department that dealt with special events. It's not just trolley, it's customer support services, it's, you know, the bus operations, it's everyone here that has had an opportunity to work with Tom over the years. And, you know, even for myself, I worked with him many times. I once had you over at my house for a holiday dinner. So we're really pleased that you've done so much for MTS. A highlight of our year at the board was always the special events annual report, which always detailed how much we do for the city. Special events became so important to the future of our region, and Tom was really a big part of that. He really led all of that. And pre-pandemic, it was 200 plus events a year, and we're going to get back up there, and I think we're going to be in good hands with Brent Boyd here. And so has been able to spend some time with you to get up to speed. So thank you again, Tom.
Anybody else?
Rosita, you doing something? Ándale, Rosita.
You do something. I can remember coming here as a raw rookie train operator and just being amazed that there were train operators that had been here 10 years. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, you guys have been here forever. And I look back now after 27 years and I think 10 years is nothing. It just goes by so quickly. But the best thing, I'm going to remember all the big events and spending time in the field and meeting the train operators. It was always, whenever we'd have a big event, a Chargers game or stadium event, it was the part-time operators, the lowest on the seniority scale that were out there doing the work. And so I got to meet the operators as they were just becoming familiar with the system. And that was always a great pleasure for me because I got to help give them some guidance and get their input as to what they were seeing and all. And those were great times being in the field out there and seeing everybody. But yeah, while I'm going to remember those events, the people that have come through this property in the various departments and all, there's so many that have gone on already. They've left to pursue their retirements. The rest of you, so many of you, Jen, I've worked with you for so many years. Brian, Dave, Ed, Rosita, forever. There's Chris back there. So it's an amazing thing. I can't believe I'm actually doing this. It never feels like it's the exact right time to pull the trigger, but it just gets to the point where you have to either say yes or no. So I said yes at this point, and with the urging of my family at home wanting to move on to other things as well. So I am going to miss this place, but most of all, I'm going to miss the people here. You guys are all great. Thank you for all the support all these years. Eddie? Good. Eddie's one that's been here longer than me, but we're the same age. We're actually 2 days, our birthdays are 2 days apart, and he is older, so I will always remind you. Mr. Omby, he's been a solid rock since I've been here. Another at the time, train operator, who was a train operator when I signed on as a train operator. George, all the guys up in Central Patrol, the gang up there, it's great. Al, it's been great to work with you for the last while. And Fabian. Fabian was one of my, when we do the stadium events, she was a controller, line supervisor out there, and we would she'd do the events out there, so we spent a lot of time in the stadium booth, and she was so rock solid out there. I learned a lot from her. Anyway, thank you so much for coming out. You guys mean the world to me.